I guess my first break of sorts. I was in college and got sort of disillusioned with that and realized that being in a band is what I really wanted to do. Sitting home one day and I get a call and I hear that Lynch Mob is auditioning singers. And through someone else, through another singer in another band locally. Calls up my girlfriend at the time. She's a flight attendant. Says, hey, I wonder if you can get me a cheap airline ticket. Lynch Mob is auditioning singers. And she gets off the phone and it's just, you know, kind of quizzical expression on her face. She explains the story to me. She says, I don't know, do you want to go audition? I said, well, I only know a couple of people out in California, and I made a couple of phone calls, and one was to the right guy, a guy named Ron Lafitte. And Ron, apparently overnight, I left a message with his answering service and said, hey man, I hear Lynch Mob is auditioning. I'd be interested in talking to the guys and seeing what's up. I'm kind of out of a situation right now, sort of. Still showcasing with this band, this other band I was in. So I got a call back the next morning, and apparently Ron Lafitte had called everybody from Howard Kaufman to the guys in the band and management and everybody, and said, I found your guy. He's a New York guy, he's living in Jersey. Here's his name and number, fly him out. So I got a call the next day from everybody saying, okay, when can you come out? So this was from 9, 10 o'clock at night until the next morning. That's how long it took to get a call back. I just flew myself out there, and in about a week or so, I'd learned a bunch of material. Flew myself out there, did a several-hour Lynch Mob audition, and got that gig. Obviously, when Bon Jovi happened, when Runaway happened, that was huge in my area because he was a Jersey guy, and it was the Jersey Shore, and it was all that stuff. Then the Skid Row guys, and Cinderella, and these Row guys are a little bit older than us, and I looked up to, and it had little brushes with here and there, and you're maybe way down on the bill, playing in bands when those guys are the next big thing, taking the next train out of town. I remember going around to the clubs and seeing these guys when they would come back from tour, like the Danger guys, and that was for me, is like, okay, Zach getting into Ozzy Osbourne's band. And Zach and JD and Brian Tishy and I, had nights sitting in, JD's mom's basement, I think, one night, playing, Eagles and Led Zeppelin and whatever, everything else we could get our hands on, So I was kind of in that peripherally, and then got the Lynch Mob opportunity and just kind of said, well, I've had enough of East Coast, I'm gonna move to Arizona. I'd gotten a Lynch Mob in probably June or July of '91. We finished up touring off the Wicked record and did some dates, and they tried to put me out on enough shows to kill me, and I didn't blow my voice up, so they're like, okay, let's write a record. So we're in the autumn of '91 doing pre-production and then beginning of recording, and I was at FM station once and ran into Jani. We got to be friends, let's both have a shot at tequila and sit down and talk, and I think it was my turn to buy, and rolled out to the bar and saw a lead singer in another band who I was actually, I admired. He's a great singer. He still is, actually. And I walked up and getting 2 shots. I introduced myself and, the quick story, and hey, I'm, here making a record. Now it sounds like I'm, one of the guys from that movie, That Thing You Do, it's like that, maybe I was that green. And I kind of got snubbed. So I buy my drinks and I walk away, and I walk back to Lane and hand him his shot. He's like, what'd that guy say? It's like, I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter, dude. He's like, no. What did he say? And I said, it was nothing. Before I could even get the story out, Jani's pushing past me, walks straight up to him. He's like, hey, asshole, you know who I am? You know what band I'm in? And they had just finished Dog Eat Dog. So you know who that guy is? Points back to me. That guy's in a band. He's been in a band called Lynch Mob. They're going to support us around the world and everywhere else on our world tour, and your band's not, and that was the Lane story. We were fast friends, and that sort of relationship we had of just hanging out socially was part of the reason why when both our records came out, we got the call to support Warrant. Jani and I used to get in a cab after Warrant shows. You know, I would play my gig, get in the shower, you know, go to catering, and still amped up from my show, go and sit stage left or stage right and watch the Warrant. You know, it was when Dog Eat Dog was out. So we'd go hang out after shows, you know, jump up with a cover band, grab 2 shot glasses, a bottle of tequila, and go, you know, get in a cab and then find more tequila when we got to a bar and, you know, sit and have a couple of drinks and hang out and have fun. And I got a call from Sharon Osbourne saying that Ozzy was going out on a tour. This is 95. So Osmosis tour, 95, 96. And Sharon says he really wants to use a real singer instead of any tracks or any sort of, you know, thing like that. Sampling, you know, sampling at that point was keyboards, you know, firing off samples. And my name had come up from a few producers as a likely candidate. So she called me, and I was in between bands at the time, so to speak. So I did that for a year. You know, within 2 weeks I was in Copenhagen or Stockholm, and I was the, kind of, you know, please ignore the man behind the curtain. I was the guy off stage doing all the background vocals in Ozzy's band for a year, all around the world. Yeah. I remember in, man, is it 89? God, it's hard to place it, at a place called the Playpen in Sayreville, New Jersey. Like the middle of, you know, Jersey Shore, Bon Joviville, so to speak. Seeing on a marquee the word Soundgarden written spelled incorrectly and Loud Love underneath it. I'm like, oh, just an off night. Went in and saw them in a small club in Jersey and was just absolutely floored. But I saw, okay, that band's from, you know, it's the Seattle thing. And that's really before it became that ubiquitous, you know, the grunge thing, the Seattle thing. Then I got a copy of, I think I got an advanced copy of Facelift, Alice in Chains, in maybe January or February of 90. I mean, is it that early? I guess. Still in New York. This is like when I was signed to Epic Sony with this band doing these demos. And I didn't perceive it at the moment as this monstrous wave that's going to take over and obliterate everything and just, you know, leave everything else in its wake. Until probably 91, first got in Lynch Mob. George and I went out to see Van Halen, and Alice in Chains was the support act. Sitting on their bus, meeting everybody in Alice in Chains for the first time, and I was a fan of the record. We both were. George and I, you know, listened to that stuff, loved that, loved Soundgarden. I really had an attachment to those two bands. I loved what they were doing. It didn't seem so incredibly different to me, because it's big rock vocals, you know, rock metal guitars, whatever you want to call them. But I got it. You know, I get the, you know, like the Black Sabbath-y kind of dirgy influences and all that, and I see it. And it's darker, but I was a fan. So to me, I didn't see it as this death of everything else. I saw it as, why can't these, okay, this is a different flavor. These things can, there are factions of music, this can coexist. On the Alice in Chains bus, late at night at our local shed in Phoenix, George and I sitting, and I think I was talking with Sean, drummer in Alice in Chains, and he said, oh no, no, no. And I said, wow, your record's doing great, this is cool. He says, yeah, we'll see, but Pearl Jam, this has already happened. It's already been decided, is what he was saying. He seemed so certain that Pearl Jam was just absolutely going to take over the world.
All personnel, Project Red Planet. Report to the main control room immediately.
Well, it was the summer of '08, and I was in a band that was asked to go out and play at Rocklahoma. You know, on the side stage. There were 2 stages. Warrant was headlining that show, and I show up and I see Joey Allen the night before they're supposed to play, and I had just played my gig. I walk off stage and I see Eddie Trunk, and I see, you know, a bunch of my friends, and I see Joey with a beer in one hand and, you know, his head in the other hand, like worried, and had our little reunion, you know, catching up on stuff, and he says, man, I honestly don't know where my singer, I think he's in rehab, I'm pretty sure he's showing up at the show. Everybody tells me he's going to be at the show. And he started telling me about how, you know, Jani had fallen back into some old habits and wasn't really keeping it together. And I could see how dismayed he was. And I think the quote that I've repeated a billion times is he comes to me and says, "Dude, how many of our songs do you know?" So I show up the next morning to their sound check and meet the whole band, say hi, you know, the kind of catch-up reunion thing for a minute, and I watch him do sound check without Jani. He wasn't there. He did roll in that night, did a pretty damn good show, you know, but truth is he was fresh out of rehab. And I guess the seed was planted that night. We all flew home. I heard from Joey not long after. He's like, you know, man, just in case, I mean, I hate to say this, but if there's a possibility that you might, you know, if we run into a really bad time and need you to cover for a show, would you? And without even really thinking about it for more than a minute or two, I just responded and said, yeah, sure, keep me posted. I mean, I want the best for you guys, but sure, keep me posted. A couple of weeks later, you know, they kind of said to me, well, it's, you know, I'll spare you guys the details. It was not the greatest situation. The other 4 guys were really frustrated, and they said, man, you know, I think we're gonna send Lane home because we want him to get healthy. Can you do a show? Can you join a band? And I said yes. And he said, okay, we have 1 rehearsal, fly out to Burbank. Our show's in 5 days. You can have 1 rehearsal. We have to do 17 or 18 songs, opening up for Alice Cooper. Hey, but the good news is it's in Tucson. So I did my first gig at Ava Amphitheater, open up for Coop on a Tuesday night, September of '08. You know, a band like we have has that legacy that I'm very proud of, and I do my absolute damnedest to pay tribute to the legacy that fans know and remember. You know, songs that my friend wrote, you know, and so I do my damnedest to do that every night. But it's cool to have records out and be able to turn people on to new songs, and it's still Warrant. It's just what Warrant sounds like now.